everyone, my name is Taryn and thank you so much for stopping by my channel, Nicole Flower House. This channel is all about my cut flower garden. I grow cut flowers in zone 7B. I also like to arrange these flowers and create things with them, and I do sell a small volume of these flowers as a side gig. For the 2022 season, I've decided that I'm going to try to sell a bit more flowers. So in order to do that, I wanted to grow a lot more flowers. And one of the tools I'm setting up here to help me do that is this landscape fabric. This landscape fabric in particular is from Garden Mats. I will show that on the screen a little bit later in the video and let you know why I picked this specific type of garden mat. But it is basically a woven ground cover. It will help me with the weeds. You can see that I'm just putting these right over top of my grass. This row in particular, a few videos back, I did already have this one set up, but I didn't put the staples in it. I just had some bricks over it and the wind blew it off. So I'm kind of starting over. But as I've mentioned previously also, I put horse manure down right there that had been composting for several years, and there's a lot of weed seeds in it. I am putting paper grocery bags underneath this ground cover just over the winter and early spring to kill those weeds. And then I'm either going to use my bulb auger and drill the holes right through the paper, or I can pull those out if I need to. I'll probably wait until it's a nice kind of rainy weekend to plant into here so that that paper is nice and soggy. And that paper will affect how water goes through this ground cover. So if it doesn't biodegrade and disintegrate quickly enough, I will have to pull that out. So you can see this is the weeds and grass that are growing on that compost. And when I spread it on that first row, it really took off. I had tilled the grass out of it first too, so it just really took a strong hold and started regrowing in there. On the next rows that I'm setting up, I chose not to till the ground first. I don't think I'm going to do that for the remaining rows. I just want to see if I can get away with not tilling. I am a no-till garden, but I did till this first row up just to remove the grass out of it. After a while, I did run out of the grocery bags, so I kind of switched to contractor's paper that got left at our house after we had some painting done, so I'm using that paper as well. The company that made this particular landscape fabric, again called Garden Mats, they have different templates that you can purchase. It is more expensive than buying woven ground cover and burning the holes in yourself, but I like that this was already done for me. Everything is perfectly straight and even. The fabric allows air circulation and water to get through, but blocks sunlight, which prevents the weeds from growing. I've chosen an 8-inch spacing on the holes. Each one of these garden mats has 100 holes in it. So that's 100 plants I can do on an 8-inch spacing. I can always skip holes if I need to, if I need something to put a little bit bigger plants in there. I've set up 5 of these garden mats, so right now I have the potential for 500 plants. My original plan was to only put annuals in this space. However, I may do some in these open spaces here that are perennials, but I'm not sure. I'm kind of looking for an opportunity to plant some more willow and eucalyptus because I've successfully overwintered eucalyptus now in my zone for several years. So that is another option for these open spaces. I mean, I have 5 garden mats and that's 500 plants, but I just can't help think of the potential of maybe adding a few more. They do have other spacing available, and I think I could use a 12-inch spacing mat to grow willow and eucalyptus. Those are 2 items I feel like I could never have too much of. I really want to get into making wreaths, and eucalyptus is a filler and a beautiful plant that everybody loves, and it looks good in so many bouquets. It's really hard to deal with taking your lawn into a garden bed. I've tried several different ways of doing this, whether it's mulching or wood chips or things like that, and it's just a lot of maintenance. So I'm hoping this woven ground cover is going to help me out with adding new sections to my garden and miniature farm. It seems like it's what it's turning into without all the maintenance of moving mulch and wood chips every season. I also wanted to take a moment to talk a little bit about my Lisianthus seedlings. My Lisianthus from last year did not bloom. They went into that stage which is called rosetting, where if your plants get stressed, they won't produce stems and they'll just produce a bunch of leaves at the base of the plant. You can see on some of these they did produce a stem, but they never bloomed. So I'm going to pinch these off just to give these plants a fresh start. I've tried looking up on how to overwinter Lisianthus, and I know they can be perennial in zones 8 and above. So comment down below if you've successfully overwintered your Lisianthus plants. Love to get some advice on that. I'm zone 7B and it looks like these are surviving. So I'm really wondering if I take care of these and cover them up with the frost cloth on the cold nights, if I can get these to survive our winter and if they'll bloom this coming season. So I'll definitely keep you posted on that Lisianthus. I'm going to be starting a bunch more Lisianthus seeds right now, and also a few other frost tolerant things like carnations and cress. So my Lisianthus seeds are all pelleted. They won't last as long as other seeds for storage. So I am going to attempt to germinate all of these Lisianthus seeds just because they're old and I don't think they'll last much longer. And honestly, I'm not sure if any of them will still germinate now, just because they are a year old and they're pelleted. If any of these seeds do germinate, I will just transplant them out into their own cells. These varieties here, the foxglove, dara, cilantro, and parsley, I also want to direct seed out into the garden instead of starting them inside in trays. In these poppy seeds, I'm going to direct sow outside. I was using these more for the pods than the flowers, so I'm just going to take these seeds and scatter them around in some of my garden beds, some specific garden beds that I set aside for poppies, and see what I get out of those. Here is a look at what my poppies looked like last year. They were very pretty, but I had a hard time with base life, so again, I was just using the pods mostly. I use Fox Farms potting soil to start my seeds. I know that's not the recommended way, that a lot of people use a specific seed starting mix. However, I've found this to work and I keep my seedlings in their trays longer than you probably should. So it's good that there's a little bit of nutrition added to this product. This is not sponsored. I don't have any sponsors, but it's just what I usually use. I like Happy Frog and I've also used Coco Loco in the past. Since this is not a seed starting mix, there are bits and pieces of mulch and things in here that are a little bigger than what you would want for seed starting. So if I happen to find those as I'm filling up my seed trays, I just pull them out and set them aside to throw into my compost. And I'm also using a new type of seed tray. I used to use seed trays from Bootstrap Farmer, which I really liked, but I was very tempted by these from Gardener's Supply. It is a self-watering system. So I'm going to switch to these and see how they do. I tried to make my own self-watering system last year and it worked relatively well, but the soil needs to have a decent amount of contact with the capillary matting, and the Bootstrap Farmer trays just had a very small drainage hole in the bottom. It wasn't making enough contact with the capillary matting to work well. So that's why I'm trying these trays, which are designed for that purpose, and the opening in the bottom of the tray is much larger. So there'll be more contact with that capillary mat, and hopefully these will self-water like they're supposed to. Now, Lisianthus seeds take a long time to germinate, probably 2 to 3 weeks. So it's going to be a long wait to see if those older seeds germinate or not. But I should get germination on the other things like the cress and the carnations before that. I've placed a humidity dome on top of this to help with retention of moisture in the soil. And Lisianthus seeds need light to germinate, so on those specific cells I did not cover them up. They're just exposed to the light, and I put this in a sunny window, and we'll just wait and have to be patient and see what happens. For the carnations and cress, I just added a small amount of soil to the top of their cells. Here is a picture of my poppies from last season, and if you like seeing the pictures of the flowers, you can always follow me on Instagram. And that is it for today's video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and the best way you can support me and my channel is to subscribe and share it with your flower loving friends. I'll see you next time. Bye.